Hey guys, welcome back to Trader Talk. Today we're going to go over some live charts during the live market. Just give me a minute here. I'm going to send out some links for our chats. All right, guys, I've got a few links out there. We're going to go over some charts. We'll go over some scans, some charts. We've got, right now I've got DCTH pulled up. I'm going to pull up the live chat too, guys. So you guys, please use the chat to communicate, ask questions, throw some tickers in there and we'll go over them together. I've got a coffee with me, just got done with lunch. It's coffee time. This is just a live session during the market hours. We're going to go over our charts and what we see. I've got a chart here on DCTH. I've got key levels we'll go over as well. Just going to give everyone a minute to get in here and get some eyes on this. If you guys have any questions, please use the chat below. I will be in the chat. So I'll be in the chat as well. I'll check it in between going over a few of these charts that we're going to go over. Got DCTH moving. Guys, pull up the gap scan. Gap scanner here. DCTH number 3 on the gap scan. We've got TSAT moving up here. Excuse me. TSAT is moving up on the gap scan as well. Number 2 now. We've got some moves happening here. Let's take a look at TSAT real quick. All right, let's blow this chart up. Let's see where this thing's going. It looks like it's moving on very little volume. Very little volume here on TSAT. This is live at 12:40 p.m. Eastern time. These are 1-minute candles, 1-minute chart. I trade the 1-minute chart pretty often. What it looks like to me, our indicator is telling us we've got the BB volume indicator here, right? Volume indicator letting us know that yellow candles are, pretty low volume here in the market hours, but that's what we want to see. Green candles, that's pretty low volume. Green and red candles, pretty low volume. So we really want to see white candles. That's what we want to see. If I zoom out a little bit, maybe we'll see some in yesterday's price action. Zoom in over here. There it is. We want to see those white candles. White candles are telling us that's the breakout type of strength and volume that we look for. That being said, we can trade lower volume, right? We all can trade lower volume, but we have to be realistic. We're not going to get filled with a great size or large size. So sometimes it's just not lucrative. Sometimes it's not worth it. But you can always take a smaller size. We call them a lotto when trading. A lottery pick, right? Smaller size, something you're willing to lose on. That's how we look at it. We've got TSAT. The reason I pull this one up and hitting the scanners, we've got a few scanners over here. Let me pull this up. So we've got TSAT was the last one here on the low float volume. It's on the volume spotter list. This is just a volume scan that we have that we used during the market hours through Trade Ideas. And you can see that in the morning we had alerts on GNS, WLDS, a handful of names. But as we scroll up, you'll start to see that those names start to die off. a little bit, and what we're going to see is the more active names on the list. And we can see DCTH has been pretty active, so one to watch, of course. Pull up our high of day momentum scanner. Scroll on down to the bottom. What do we have here? First alert's at 9:30. That's when this scanner goes off. DCTH at 588. GNS was on here as well. Let's see. WLDS was on here. AAOI, very low volume, you can see on that one. Scroll up through this list and you can see really DCTH just took off from 1055. Again, started hitting the scans again, 1006, 1055, and just from there, from 1055 till now, 1221, the most recent alert, we have not seen anything, and it's 1243 right now. So 1221, about 20 minutes ago. That's the last alerts that we got on our high of day scanner. Let me move that off the screen. So you might hear the scanners in the background. I don't have them on the voice channel with us. Hopefully it's not too loud, but I don't have those with us here in the voice channel. But we have, I will pull a couple of these over. We've got our bullish momentum scanner here. If I scroll on down to the bottom of this list, what do we see on for bullish momentum? We just see DCTH at 11:15, and there was alerts before this, but it can only show us so many alerts. As you can see, as I'm scrolling up on this, you can see I'm scrolling up here. DCTH is pretty much the one shouting at us all day long, letting us know that there's definitely volume here to trade. We can see there's 75 million shares traded at this point. So if you're looking for the liquidity, it's showing you exactly that. In the background here, we can see TSAT is inching its way up. Let me just verify that I have these levels accurate. Just give me 1 second. Just want to make sure that our levels are still in play. Sometimes they will get a little wonky on us. Yeah, no, we still look good. So TSAT still looks good. The fact is that it has very little volume. So we can see that in these colored candles. So the fact that we don't have the white candles is letting us know we don't have that really strong breakout strength. Yellow candles, we're getting some volume. You can see down here, daily volume, 880,000 shares. Current volume on this candle, 50,000 shares on this candle. And you can see that at the top as well. If you scroll over any one of these candles, you'll be able to see the volume at the top. So if you keep your mouse or your cursor over to the right hand side, it's just going to show you the most recent candles volume. So you can see on this one, if I zoom in a little bit, make it easier for you guys to see, you can see it's approaching its resistance of 1735. Right now it's testing a whole dollar level at 17. I don't believe it's closed over. Let me see. Oh, it has 1709. So at this point, really it needs to hold $17, and you can see it's pulling back here in that lower volume. It needs to hold that $17 spot. 1735 would be a target. If it can bounce off this level of 1688, that's great, but it closed over 17. So really at this point, it needs to hold above $17. Even though this is our major level, 17 has to be, we have to be aware of that as well. You can see it pulling back a little bit. And it's going to take a little bit for this one to present a major red. And that's because it's the price. The price is a little bit higher than normal. We typically trade stocks, you know, anywhere from cheapos under $1, but really anywhere between $1 to $20, $25. But we are looking for major reds as -4% candles or greater, which would be in pink. So if I zoom out again on TSAT and go back to, let's see, yesterday's price action, you can see a pink candle right here letting us know that that was a major red. You can see the negative percentage right here as I hover over that candle showing a -6.5%, 7% candle. So that's a pretty large pullback there, right? So TSAT, we've got the next resistance level, and we just closed below the 1688 and 17. Closed back over 17. We've got room to get to 1735. But we do know that there is very little volume in this name right now. So we want to be careful of that if you're trading. Personally, I like to reduce my size depending on those type of conditions. DCTH, let's pull this one up, guys. This is the big winner of the day, isn't it? You know, I haven't even traded this one. I traded TLSA and WLDS this morning in the pre-market. That's all I've traded. We set oversold alerts on this one. We did get them in chat. We got an oversold alert right here at the open, and the price came in right here. So right around this 561 area, 570, that's where we got our oversold alerts. We get a nice pop from there. it was not a bad play. We did not get oversold alerts down here. I was hoping we did, but we did not. And from there, it just bounced completely and is now in more of a reversal rather than a oversold play. We're actually getting oversold alerts on it right now. Look at that. So this is pretty cool. So we've got this indicator that lets us know when it's oversold and overbought, the BB oversold, overbought indicator here. So we can see that DCTH is becoming oversold. So maybe it's, you know, it's going to be in play here shortly. So we'll keep an eye on this one and see what it does. I've got some support levels here. You know, the issue with playing off of these support levels, in my opinion, is oftentimes what that is more anticipation trading. I do prefer confirmation. So I like when it confirms its levels above and continues through higher levels. But you can see if I pull up our Discord here, you'll see that we have levels right now on DCTH. Oversold, enters oversold around 645. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put that into our into Benzinga as well. So I'm over there in Benzinga. If you guys ever are looking for news, guys, this is the greatest, fastest site for it, I think. But that is for you guys to figure out if that's what you want to do. But Benzinga, I'm going to put that over there. It enters oversold around 645. So what is that telling us? You know, let's go over this oversold alert. You know, it's a good example here. You know, it was red over here. Red area means it's becoming overbought. Green area means it's becoming oversold. Whenever it's oversold, what typically happens is you may see a small bounce from that area. You don't always see that bounce, but sometimes what happens is it's almost like an elastic band. If you stretch it one way too far, it's going to snap back the other way, right? So typically, when we see these oversold alerts, what it's telling us is it's starting to get into a zone. And I would look at this zone to anywhere from here to down maybe 10%. So if we measured that, we could take this long position here and we can say, okay, this was the first alert, right? So scroll over here and we're looking for maybe a 10% move or 10, let's say 10 cents. Let's just get 10 cents, right? Keep it sweet. 10-cent move. We're willing to add into a 10% dip. So that would be about 10% there. So we've got levels down here too, right? And I'm not in this one right now. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not in any positions at this time. But if I were looking at this for a possible trade, we're getting these oversold alerts. The way I look at it is, you know, I'd like to start adding into a position. I don't want to take full size on the first alert. What I'd like to typically do is add into a small dip. And then what I like to do is break up my main order into multiple orders, right? And so if I'm going for, you know, for an example, 1,000 shares, maybe I want to split it into 500 shares and 500 shares. Maybe I want to split it into 250, 250, 250, 250, right? So one of these strategies that we're backtesting on these alerts is actually this example here, a 10% dip. So we'll add into this dip, but if it gets up 10 cents from the initial alert, which is right here, and the 10 cents from that level would be right at that level. So if we can get up to about 663 or 669, we're good to go, right? We're going to take profit and we'll sell at 75%, 90% of our position. So that's the idea. Now, if we add in here and it just pops up, we get ourselves a really small scalp if we were breaking up our buy. If we add here and we start adding into this dip as it goes down, so say for an example, we buy every couple percent down. So if we buy every 3% down, we're breaking up our buy into 3 buys. So 3% from here would be right around there. So 633. So we could, in theory, start adding again at 633, and then in theory again add 3% below that as well, all the way down into this level here. Now the problem with that, and again, this is still a strategy that we're in backtest with. I stick to confirmation for the most part, but these are nice little bounce plays that our team is taking advantage of. And you can see that we got more alerts on it here. So enters oversold at a price of 636, right? And 645, 653. So it's letting us know it's entering into that oversold zone. So I'm going to add that to Benzinga as well. So let me just share that over there. And you'll see that. If you guys are on Benzinga, I'm in the low float channel over there. I'm a moderator of their chats. and I use them mostly for my news. I think that they're really fast at getting the news out. I can find news quickly in the morning in the pre-market session as well as during the market hours. That gives me an edge, and I like that. DCTH, we need to get up to this level. If we were to pop from here, right, and we added twice or once here and once here, again, we're looking for a pop to about 663. So we are willing to possibly add to down here. And again, this is just a strategy. This is just a theory. I'm not in this one right now. We're in the middle of back testing these. I use Excel spreadsheets and custom back testers to really log all these alerts that come through into our chat and really back test it. So that way in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, our data will help really narrow down results and give us better risk to reward ratios, because that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for high probability trades. But DCTH, we can see again, oversold, getting a small bounce from these alerts, but that's really not what we're looking for. We're looking for at least a 10-cent move from the initial, would like to see it from the initial entry, but it really depends where you're getting in. So if I were to get down here, get in here, it would be a 10-cent pop from wherever level I get in, not from the first alert, of course. So wherever I get in, I'm looking for a 10-cent move. Nothing crazy. It's not a reversal. It's just a bounce. And this is basically just on the premise that this is oversold, that it was before it was overbought and it rejected back down. And now it's oversold. We're looking for shorts to cover and get a small bounce. That's all it is. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Let me check out the chat. Who's in live chat right now? Let's see a thumbs up in chat. I'll be hanging out for a little bit here, going over a few charts and some of these scanners too. You can see TSAT was hitting highs. Most recent alerts on our scanner was TSAT. $17.09 was the high there. As I scroll down, we've got a number of alerts, but not a whole lot. Joey, you're in. Awesome. Appreciate you joining, Joey. What are we watching? I know MJ in chat had a few new IPOs. Some IPOs that were moving. Ramu in chat. Karen. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate your time. What are we watching? You're in, Karen? Watts? Good to see you guys. Yeah, I'll be in the chats too. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. So you can see DCTH is coming down. Karen, you're watching this one for those oversold alerts? Yeah. You know, I'm just not, as I mentioned this morning, I'm not in love with this setup. I didn't take this one over here. I'm not sure if you got a piece of that. Did you get this one, Karen? I know it was pretty early on. Let me see what time this was. 9:31, so it was right after the market open there. Josie, good to see you. What you got for lunch, Josie? What are you eating today? My wife we just got done eating biscuits and gravy and eggs, and she spoiled the heck out of us. Kids are starting, my youngest is starting school again right now. So trying to do a big hurrah before that. Ramu, you're the best. You're the best. Even if you are a Cowboys fan, you are the best. I'm not going to hold it against you. If anyone's listening out there on YouTube, if you guys even watch this afterwards and stuff, put your NFL team in chat. We like to joke around about it, but I'm a Patriots fan, so I get a lot of heat for that. So DCTH looks pretty stagnant right now, doesn't it, guys? It looks pretty stagnant, and this is kind of my issue with this. You know what? The problem that I had with DCTH today, the big problem that I had with it, was really that the fact that it had gapped up in the pre-market session. If I zoom in here, you guys will see this was that was at 4 a.m. time. So right here, this is the first candle. That's at 4 a.m. They had news come out at 9 p.m. last night Eastern time. Man, I had it shut down by then. I wasn't looking. I don't know about you guys, but I was not looking at screens, stocks, and all that. You know, we got to have some personal time. Got to have some time away from screens. So I missed it completely. I missed it, and I didn't see it till this morning, until I got in later this pre-market session. But you can see this was the 4 a.m. candle. It moved up. What did it move up? 80%. Moved up 80% at 4 a.m. on a 27,000 shares. That is some pretty weak volume, but regardless, despite the volume or not, held up and went up even greater from there. So that's impressive. The thing I don't like about this, right, This may be an unpopular opinion. I don't know. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. But my opinion on this was I did not like this because I missed this move, guys. I wasn't here at 4 a.m. If it starts to get hot at 4 a.m. again, then I'll get my butt into bed earlier and be up with the early bird crew. But 4 a.m., guys, it was a little too early for me. At this point, it was 4:10 a.m. So within 10 minutes, it made its move. So if you were up, ready, and aggressive, man, it paid off. But I was going to sit out of that one. I had to get my beauty rest, as I like to call it, right? But over here, the problem with this is that it gapped up and it hit all of these levels. It just completely ripped through levels on low volume. And so it created a choppy atmosphere. Now, it doesn't mean it won't get up and past those levels again, but there's some traders there. There's some traders sitting in this position being like, I got in, it's going to continue. It's going to, $10, $20, $30. And now they're sitting in here with those bags and they're like, man, what the heck do I do? Should I get out? And I know this because I used to be that trader, guys. That's how I know that. I used to be that trader. That's happened to me before. I can vividly remember one of my early days, one of the first bad trades that I took because, when you first start trading, you get a few good trades and you really have no clue about trading. You think you know something. As soon as you make money, it justifies bad habits, right? And I had bad habits in the beginning. I had bad habits, and I remember losing, I think it was like about $2,000 within, an hour or two or less. And, for me, it may not be a lot for a lot of people, but for me, that was a lot of money, especially when I was first starting out. That was a lot of money to lose, especially within an hour of time. Losing $2,000, for me, again, I've got a family, I've got bills to pay, right? So that was tough. But I'll never forget it, and I learned from it. But I've been in this situation, and I held out for a little while. I was actually down less than that, and I held out thinking, oh, this thing's going to curl back up. Maybe it'll come back up, this, that, and the other thing. And then before you know it, just kept going down. I had to cut it loose, and then, of course, go to my wife and be like, I promised you I'm not gambling, but I just lost this money, and it feels like gambling, right? And I think all beginners can agree with that. I think anyone who's been trading for a while can probably relate to that as well. But over here, so the problem with that is that it literally filled these gaps. So now I need to see it over 754 because it gapped up all the way up here and hit a high of 747, which we had a level there. 754 now I need to see a close over. So I've got alerts set up there. It's moving. Yes, it's a beautiful move today, but unfortunately it's not the type of move that I'm looking for. I'm looking for that confirmation. I'm looking for continuation. If this, were to have happened later in the pre-market session, if we would have seen this, closer to 9 a.m., then it would have been a different story. Then maybe it would have had that continuation. But the fact that it happened at 4 a.m. and created that choppiness, I mean, the problem is there's a lot of traders who, possibly didn't see that and weren't able to, retail traders, able to get out of those positions from 4 a.m. to when we saw it. So, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, really. It is. And that's what I mentioned earlier, Karen. I'm sure you remember, but we went over this one and setting these alerts on this one. And we got some alerts here, and it's got a small bounce from there. But if you put a level up here, it has not gotten back to where the original alert came in. So if you started buying there or you threw the kitchen sink at the first alert, you get yourself into trouble, right? So, again, I'm a little wary on trading this one in particular. If this was a straight pop at 9:30, 10 a.m., and then it was retracing back down, then I would be interested in this oversold alert. But one of my issues on this, and this is another good example, is we did get oversold alerts here, and here, all in the pre-market session. You can see that with the BB oversold indicator. Green, green, green. That means oversold, oversold, oversold. Here's a red one, overbought. You can see a little retrace from there. So each one of these oversold alerts did give the 10-cent pop, as you can see here. So it's a good example. The issue is we're starting to become exhausted, right? This is starting to become a little exhausted from these alerts. And so that is my issue when we're setting these alerts during market hours, is I'm a little concerned that we have already, really given those algorithmic type of bounce plays off of those, because that's kind of what it is. We're looking for algorithmic type of action, and we're trying to, as retail traders, to just attach ourselves to that, right? And it's not that complicated. It really isn't. But what it is as again, we've already had this alert multiple times, and so therefore I could see it being a little on the more exhausted side. But that being said, the strategy would remain the same, right? So if I'm trading this one, I'd be looking to, maybe I'm even thinking about taking a lotto. Maybe I think I want to buy a lotto just in case it's a reversal. Well, maybe I could do, 100 shares, 200 shares, 300 shares, 400 shares. And if it doesn't work out, sell, for a loss there, break it up so it's not so large of an order. Or maybe I'm just trading in a simulator, because I'm establishing consistency first, right? You guys should be doing so. And maybe you're looking to just prove a strategy profitable first before going crazy. So we can see these white candles on DCTH. What that's telling us is it has a lot of volume, and that's great. That's what we need, because if we're trading these type of alerts on stocks that don't have that volume, there is a major concern. And we're going to get these alerts again here. You can see if I move this over, I'll move this way. Let's see, right about there, I think it was. You can see the white candles. This is high volume. So this candle here had 255,000 shares traded on it. What that tells me is that I can get in and out with real size. I'm not going to get it stuck, right? I'm not just going to get stuck into the position and have myself a hard time here with getting out of the position or dealing with slippage. This has a lot of volume, and therefore that means I should be able to get in and out with a decent amount of size. And so it may be one to watch over the one that doesn't have any volume. So if that makes sense, it's just basically we have more shares to trade. And what's happening is more shares are trading is what's going on here. And so it's going to push that needle around. We can see that we're going to get that oversold alert here in just a second. So if it closes down below here, we're going to get that alert. Josie, Subway. Nice. Yeah, Ramu. Yeah, Zeke is with us now. Zeke is with us. We got some alerts here, guys. We've got some oversold at 608. So I'll go ahead and share that into Benzinga as well. I'll take it down here. And like I said, it may not do anything from it. I'm not in this one right now. I'm not comfortable trading it. But that being said, you can see it's having a pretty nasty drop here. So that does, I know a lot of traders would take off from this, but this does actually present a pretty nice opportunity at times. This is tempting to take. I think I'll just sit back and watch for now. Remove. That's right. Yeah, I'm tired of being a bad trader, Ramu. That was not fun. I'll tell you that. So we're getting a small bounce. You can see oversold alert came in at 608. It's at 617. So technically speaking, that'd be your 10-cent pop if you took the trade here. But we're still looking for it to get back up to these levels from before. And it may not do so, right? It may just not do that. So we'll see what happens. Now, if I pull over our scanners, last scans that we've had, or last results for volume, we've had Grove, TSAT, TSAT, and HRTG. We can see low volume, very low volume. So we don't have a lot of volume there. Last alert was at 1:04 p.m. and it's just past that 1:05 now. So a little bit delayed. So no position for myself this time. Trader Talk, guys. If you guys have any questions or have any charts you want me to pull up and go over, I can do so. Just add them into the chat. I just want to try to add value. I told our team this morning that the goal here is to try to add value for free. I understand that not everyone can afford premium services. Not everyone can afford charting services and paid brokers and things like that. So trying to offer as much value as possible for free. I don't think everything out there should cost an arm and a leg. But what we're looking for here is to work together as a team. So if you guys have any questions or you're confused about something, let's go over it. This is Trader Talk. That's what this is. So we've got our gap scan. I'll pull that over just for a minute. Gap scan here. We've got Grove is up right now. That's showing a 11 million share float. What's going on with Grove? Let's check Benzinga. So let's pull up Benzinga first, and I'll check with them. So I just go to the details page. You can see I've got a couple pages here. Go to the details page and type in Grove. Look for their news, and let's see. Maintains outperform. Raises price target to $3.50. That's cool. So that's something, right? So it's got some news. Typically that's after some earnings, and it looks like it was. There was earnings yesterday on this one. So let me add some news here to our chat so everyone is aware. Why is that moving? That's what we want to know. Why is it moving? Better yet, why is it not on the scanners? That's what I'd like to know. Let's see. Oh, it is on the scanners. Yeah, it's on our volume watch. We've got Grove here, low volume. Let's see if we can find it anywhere else. So this is one of our volume scans that we use to, it's really our radar. These are Trade Idea scanners, and they're really top notch. You can customize them however you prefer. Mine are pretty strict to the float size, but some of these stocks you'll notice won't have a float size listed on Trade Ideas, which can become an issue. So here's Grove down here. Volume watch, not bullish momentum. So that means it's not going to be on our other volume scanners just yet. It means that it has low volume, and we may want to be aware of this because it does have that low flow right there. Scroll down. Let's see if we get any more alerts on Grove. Not seeing any. Here's one right here. Low float volume on Grove. So we're notified early on, as you can see, to really start looking for a possible opportunity here on Grove. See multiple alerts. You can see some are coming in now. So we'll pull that one up here in just a minute as well. Still watching DCTH. Let's see what Grove is doing. Let's see. I'll pull off this TSAP. That's a big old candle right there, isn't it? So that candle right there, yes, it looks pretty bullish, but as we look to the left, we can see that we hit these highs recently. You can see we have a level at 311. Let me just verify that I have these levels accurate. And if not, I'll update my chart. Yes, it looks like I need to update the chart. Yeah, it takes for me, guys, it takes 1 to 5 minutes to update these charts, and it's I think well worth the effort. So I'm going to do that now. Scanners are showing us that it has a looks like a what, 12 million share float, 11 and a half, just about. So what I do for my strategy is I look for support and resistance. And what I'm looking for mostly is resistance, because in my type of strategy, and you can hear, I can hear Grove on the scanners now going off on the scans. So let me go ahead and get these levels out. So what I look for is resistance, and a clean close over resistance then uses that resistance level as a support level. So it's a pretty simple strategy, but of course there is other stipulations to the strategy that will make it higher probability. And we've got the guide. I'll pull up the guide here in just a minute, the strategy guide. We have a whole strategy guide that goes over the strategy, and it's the confirmation strategy, which looks for, again, a clean close over a predetermined resistance level paired with volume for it to tell us that it's bullish. And once it's bullish, we can buy. And how we execute those orders, there's a few different ways to go about that. Myself, really depends on the conditions, but sometimes I'll go all in at one buy. Sometimes I'll break up my buy into multiple orders. Really depends on the conditions leading up into. So I've got levels coming out on Grove. I'm going to send it out to our team in chat. That's the first thing I like to do, is get these resistance levels out to our team. I've got levels here, and I'm going to copy this and get it up on the stream as well, so you guys can see GROV. And let me zoom in here. I'm going to add this into our channel as well. So GROV updated chart coming through. So if you guys are in chat and Discord, that's GROV. Yes, Joey, exactly. Very low volume. Yeah, it's not really for us. Yeah, typically during the market hours, if you have this indicator, we're looking for these white candles. So we want to see the white candles. This would set up as a risk it for the biscuit, right? The old risk it for the biscuit. And I'll pull up the guide and go over that here in just a minute. So we've got Grove, GROV, right now over $3. It's got to hold 3 and 295. If it can, we've got this 340 here. And I'll send an alert for our team. Let me send an alert for our team. That way, For anyone who's in, they are fully aware of what level is one to watch for possible resistance. And that's the idea behind these alerts as well. So if you're in the trade, you understand that's where resistance may present itself. And for me, that means it's a good idea to possibly scale out and take some profit. So GROV moving here on the scanners, and we've got an 11 million share float. All right, so let me go ahead and get this back on the screen. So you guys can see the VWAP is around 285. So 285 is down here somewhere, right? So VWAP's down here, 285. We can see that the high of this candle is 315, and we can see that there is very low volume right now. So we see this in red. And once we see this in yellow or green, that's what we want to see. That means it's high volume. So I'm going to pull up the guide and go over risk it for the biscuit setups. We'll also make sure that we take a look back at the, what is it, DCTH as well. Hey, Mustang. Appreciate you joining today. This indicator, which one are you talking about? There's a couple of them I have, actually. I've got these are all custom indicators. Each one of these, my son and I build together. He's a software programmer, and just out of high school, starting college now, actually. So I've got a helping hand, I'll tell you. But I really enjoy coding myself as well. I'm not too hot at it myself, but I'm learning slowly and surely. All right, I'm going to pull over the confirmation strategy guide as well. We'll go over the risk it for the biscuit. So the strategy guide is just a PDF in a file that we go over. This is the whole guide right here. So of course it's going to go over what is a low float, stock, what's the rules to our strategy, what's our 1 minute confirmation strategy, what are we looking for, how do we find that support and resistance, what are the 5 major red flags to avoid, what's our A+ setups versus our C+ setups and below, and how do we assess key gaps, volume requirements, which of course will be different for pre-market and for regular market, how to manage risk, taking profit, leaving a lotto, risk it for the biscuit. That's what we're looking for right there. So risk it for the biscuit is what we're looking for. This has a whole bunch of information. Of course, a disclaimer, as I'm not a financial advisor. You guys know this. I'm just a trader. This is Trader Talk. So this is for educational purpose only. So let's pull up the risk it for the biscuit setup. So let me go ahead and find that here in our guide. And we got some cool stuff in this guide. You know, we've got the 5 major red flags, which I'm sure, you know, a lot of traders are well aware of this. Let me pull this up real quick just to kind of just briefly go over it with everyone. But 5 major red flags to avoid. We've got low volume. We've got bullish vertical trend. We've got, let's see, previous major red spotted, and we have a cluster of resistance. And of course, the float size matters as well too. So if we have the float size right there, float size matters. What do? Well, we spot major red flags. We can greatly reduce our size, tighten up our stop loss. Don't wait for a candle to close under the support level to bail. That's an important one to know. Or just avoid the trade and look for a higher quality setup elsewhere, right? Makes perfect sense. A lot of this is common sense, but, you know, you'd be surprised. So scrolling on down here, looking for our... let's see, I want to see our risk it for the biscuit setup, because some of these are setting up like this. This GROV is exactly that, in my opinion. There we go. So risk it for the biscuit. Let's go over this real quick. So how do I like my biscuits? Well, I'll tell you guys. What is a risk it for the biscuit? Risk it for the biscuit is when all conditions have not been met. So if we see those major red flags, then that is a risk it for the biscuit, right? That is a risk it for the biscuit. And this is pretty similar to that, because what this is telling us is that we don't have the required volume. We need to see those white candles. We don't have that required volume here in the the regular market session. So therefore, we cannot trade this as aggressive as normal. We can either avoid the trade altogether, look for a higher quality setup, or reduce our size, just being aware of those conditions, right? And at this point, it closed over $3 mental level. So I don't have that level on my chart. It would be right around here. So if you're watching for it to hold, it's got to hold above 3 and 295. Close below those levels. That's it. We bail, right? And I'm not in this one right now, guys. Just going over it. No position for myself at this time. So risk it for the biscuit, right? what this is telling us is if we measure this gap, right? If I measure this from here to here, we're looking at a 14% gap. So maybe it's worth risking it for those biscuits, right? And sometimes it depends. So the risk for the biscuit setup is really going to depend on the conditions. So if all conditions are not met, it's going to set up as a risk it for the biscuit. In other words, it's a higher risk play, and therefore we want to be really aware of that and maybe adjust our approach, right? So how do I like my biscuits? Well, I don't always eat biscuits, but when I do, I like to see those wider gaps of $1 or more. So if we look back at this chart, if I pull this back off, when you look at this chart here, we can quickly see that this is a $2.95 to $3.40 gap. That's not $1. So it's not exactly how I like my biscuits. But that being said, does not mean that I can't take a trade here. That doesn't mean that confirmation wouldn't work here. What it means is that I'm aware of the conditions. We have low volume leading up into this close above a resistance level. So yes, it's confirmation, but is it a true, strong, high quality, A+ type of confirmation? No, it is not. And we know that because, of course, we have the lack of volume and we've got those major red flags to be aware of. So again, pull it up, risk it for the biscuit. Whole setup that we have here, whole chapter going over this, and you can see some examples here. So this one here, a really good example. I'll expand this so you guys can see and zoom in a little bit. So right here, risk it for the biscuit example. So it had under 100,000 shares on this candle, but it closed over its resistance level, and it had a gap from $10.20 to $12. So do I want to take this trade? Well, it depends on really a few factors. It's going to depend on my, the size of my account. It's going to depend on if I'm green that day already or not. Do I have a cushion to trade with? In other words, am I in the red? Am I looking to, take a higher risk trade after already being in the red that day? Or do I want to be a little bit more selective and conservative? So really, there's a lot of factors on why you could take that type of trade or why you shouldn't take that type of trade, right? So HTGM right here from our example here is a really good example. So risk it for the biscuit setup. That is a whole chapter that we've got here in the guide. And again, if you guys are looking for this, this is the complete low float trading guide, because it does work on large cap, but it's more so for low float. It's most accurate when it comes to low float trading. Hearing EOSE on the scanners. EOSE is a 121 million share float, so that is a pretty high float. So I think I'd be a little concerned. Again, float size matters, and that'd be a little high for float size. Let's take a look back at DCTH. What's going on over here? We had our little setup here. We can see that it's not giving us that pop. Gave it the pop off this alert here, but didn't do so down here. Now, let's see. If we were in at this level, had to suffer, this would be down about 7%, current price bound 4%. So again, throwing the kitchen sink at the initial alert, I think is pretty risky. It's the probability of it curling back up, it could happen, but again, still back testing the results. The fact that this has already gave those oversold alerts here and oversold alerts over here in the pre-market, again, it may be a little bit more on the exhausted side, so I'm not sure that we're going to get it. And we can see that the volume is dying down as well. You can see these yellow candles telling us that the volume is dying down. Now, I've seen low volume spike up through levels with ease, so it can happen, but typically what happens when we have that low volume is you're going to see that wide spread. And so what happens is if you go to sell, and you deal with slippage, especially if you're dealing with a market order or even selling the ask or selling the bid, you can get yourself into trouble because you might have to suffer some slippage there in your order. And slippage is just the price between the bid and ask, of course. So no position for myself. What was the other one here? Grove is just dying back down. And as Joey mentioned in chat, just no volume to trade. And again, is it worth the risk? I don't know if it's worth the risk. Now, if I normally take a 10,000 share order, would it be worth taking 10,000 shares on this candle that popped up? No, not for me. So I would reduce my size or avoid it altogether. So we can see pretty weak right now. You guys, if you want to throw some tickers in chat, let me know. I don't hear anything else on the scanners. We had that EOSE. Let's check that one out real quick. Let me make sure I save my charts. Let's see what EOSE is doing. EOSE is a high float. This one's got 121 million share float. Look at that, 121 million share float. So that's a red flag. That's a red flag. What a move, though. Very impressive. Look at that. It's a very strong move. We can see that we had an oversold alert right in here. But it was on pretty low volume. And this is typically what we see on those oversold alerts. Start to come down, give yourself a little pop from there, you get yourself a nice buy into that level and a nice pop, and you get yourself a nice trade, but I can see it's a little weak. Halt scanner, RETO just halted. RETO. Let's see. 4 million share float. Ooh, halted up. Halted up on very little volume. Look at that. 25,000 shares. A 7% candle, and it halted up. Oh, look at that. From an oversold alert again. So you can see the BB oversold indicator, green area on the chart, letting us know that it's oversold. And we can see a little bounce from there. And this is, again, typically what you see from that. But this had no volume. So no volume, no trade. That's one of my rules. So what do we got going on? Let's see what the guys over in Benzing are chatting about. Let's see. Charles mentioned RETO. RETO is halted. Let's see why. Let's see what the news is on RETO. Zoom trade. Let's see. Just because of volatility. So it should resume at 126. So see that? That's our resumption time. So 126. So we'll see if that does anything. But as you can see, very little volume again. And if we zoom out to the left-hand side, look at this nasty looking chart. That is just terrible. Terrible. But you never know. We've seen some crazy things. Market can completely reverse and go up. How's SPY and Tesla doing today, guys? Let's check out SPY's chart today. We had a major level right here. This 444 is a major level. We tested it the other day and we held here, but we're testing again. I think that we keep knocking on that door. It's going to eventually just take it off the hinges. So, but SPY needs to hold this 444, I think, on my chart. This is a major level. Any of the purple levels that I have as major levels. You can see down here another major level at 438. So it's got some major support below. Above, we've got a major resistance around 451. And we can see in the pre-market session, we struggled to get over the 447, but this could be just late prints. So we'll see what happens with SPY. Let's see what Tesla's doing. No position for me right now, guys. Scanners are pretty quiet, letting me know that there isn't a whole lot of value out there in the market. Pretty slow. We go over our volume leader scan. Let me pull our volume leader scan over. 93 million shares traded on DCTH. So that's where the volume is. And that's why we have those alerts, oversold alerts on that one as well. So we'll keep an eye on it still, because I still think it may be promising, but I'm not in it. I don't think, you know, I don't trade my opinion, guys. I trade the chart, and unfortunately the chart's just not telling me what I want to see. So TSLA, it's kind of in the gap here. Hit that resistance this morning. We had a resistance right there at 240. Hit it, came down, oversold, small bounce, and come back down. This is a 15-minute chart on TSLA. It's not really doing a whole lot there. All right, let's check out our old friend DCTH. Well, there we go. DCTH getting a pop from this level. So, you know, these ones didn't work out. You know, maybe you're still adding down into here. Maybe you're about flat at this point, or maybe you're actually in the green, depending on how aggressive you were adding into the size. But again, the idea would be we can add down 10% below. 10% below would be down here at 589. We're looking for at least a 10-cent pop from the initial alert. But again, still back testing these results, and it will be very interesting to see what kind of results that we get and what the data shows us. And that's what I love, guys. I'm a complete data nerd myself. I can't stress it enough. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. What I do is I try to crunch as much data as possible. That way I can really narrow down results and increase probability. There is no way you're going to get 100% accurate. That's just impossible. I accept that. I know that. But what you can do is you can increase your chances, give yourself an edge, and you know, find what works for you. Because again, what works for me may not work for you. So it really depends on what you're you know, what you're looking to achieve out of the market, and of course your situation. So nice bounce here on DCTH. Alerts came in at 608. The low of this candle was 608, so it was a nice alert right at that 608 level. So anyone who got it, next candle hit 608, bounced up from there, and has never looked back since. So, you know, like I said, if you're adding into this, you could be flat. If you were here and you're adding every, say, 3%, right about there, and down 6%, you'd add as well. So you're adding right there. So maybe your average would be probably right around this area. So you'd probably be pretty much flat on the position. So if it starts to pop, you can start to see some green. And if it starts to drop, then of course you're going to suffer greater loss adding into that position. but we can see the volume is just dying out. This candle here has 46 seconds left. You can see on the countdown on the right hand side, and that countdown is pretty important too, because if I'm looking for a clean close over one of my levels and I'm looking at that countdown, that's typically what I'm looking for. If I see in the last 5 seconds that we are definitely closing over a level, then I may pull the trigger just a little bit early, but usually I like to wait for that clean confirmation over. So DCTH can hear on our scanners letting us know that there is volume, but it's not bullish volume. So if I pull over these scans, you'll see DCTH has volume, but it is not bullish momentum, it says, which is an alert that I have set for our team. Lets us know that, yes, it's got volume. So we are aware that there is some volume there, because there is. You can see this white candle. So we did get over 100,000 shares, 113,000 shares there. That's nice to see. But we can see that we are not maintaining that steady volume right now. So bit of a concern. So guys, I traded this morning WLDS and TLSA, a couple cheapos, just for pennies. Just for pennies, you know, just taking small scalps. I'm green on the week, but very small size. I took a red day yesterday, very small red. I was down $10. For me, that's completely flat, but I think for most that's flat. But regardless, I was deeper in the red. I was able to make up some of that loss, luckily, but ended red regardless and had to shut it down. Didn't want to extend those losses. You ever notice that some days you're just not there? Some days it's just not there mentally, and you just gotta face the facts and shut it down. That's just the way it is. I think the tougher part about that, though, is afterwards when you start to see that, you know, that stock go flying off the hinges and you're not in it. It's the mental aspect of trading which can really mess with you. So, you know, once you master that, I think we're all good to go. But it takes a long time to master that. I'm still working on it myself. I still get a little bent out of shape about a few trades I missed out on, but can't be a woulda, coulda, shoulda guy. Can't be a woulda, coulda, shoulda guy. So who's still with me? Who's in chat? Nothing moving, guys. We don't see anything moving. You guys see anything out there? We had up on the scanners a minute ago. Up, UP. That one got a little bit of volume today. 1 million shares, not much. We've got, let's see, Grove, GROV. That one was moving a minute ago, right? See what it's doing. Did it hold its level? Yeah, I'm hearing TTOO. What's that on the cheapo scanner? Sure is, TTOO. So TTOO on the cheapo scanner. Let's check that out. Oh, a lot of volume on TTOO. Lots of volume, but it's a cheapo. It makes sense to have that volume, but look at that move. Oof. Beautiful move on TTOO. Let's see what the news is on this. I'll pull it up in Benzinga and take a look at the news section here. The 15th did have news. Let's see. Looks like it's got some news, but not really. Some headlines are out, but I'm not sure that it's really news to hold it up. Maybe it's from yesterday. Lithium, Rive. Yes, Ramu. Appreciate it. My man. What are we watching, Ramu? There's nothing moving right now. There's nothing moving. We're watching this TT. I've got a 50-cent stock up. That's when you know something's wrong. That's when you know something's wrong, right? It is pretty late. There we go. We got a little pop there on DCTH. There we go. There we go. So for our dip buyers, you're getting something here. Yeah, you can see. Can you see that there flashing there a little bit? Bullish vertical trend. Look at that. See? Bullish vertical trend. What that's telling us is that we have 5 or more green bars in a row. If I click on that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green bars in a row. 9. So we can see that we're getting a little bullish vertical trend. Nice, Karen. Out even, yeah. Yeah, I was hoping to get a little something out of that, but I didn't take it myself either. I think I'll sit out for now, but we can see that bullish vertical trend now. You know, it might get a little pop here, a little pop from there, but it'd be nice if it continues. But nice. Yep, DCTH getting a pop. Getting a pop. And see what I mean here, Karen? This is what I mean when we were talking about it this morning. This is why I prefer to add into the dip rather than just go full right there, right? So, I mean, if you add into the dip and you get yourself a nice little position and you keep adding into it, then you can get yourself a nice little size. But the only problem that I think that I see with that, like I said, is if we start to run into this, it may just get back up to even. And so if we're going too heavy in the initial size. So I think, you know, again, results may show a smaller size here and increase the size as we come down, but we really have to, you know, predetermine the full size before we get started, right? So we have to predetermine how much, you know, we're willing to go at this, because, you know, if we don't do that, then we're going into it with just winging it. And if we do that, we can get ourselves into trouble. We can just start adding into the position and convincing ourselves that it's worth it. But I'm not sure that's the best way to go, you know. So systematic is I think best. So if we can keep it to more of a system type of approach, I think we'll be good to go. $635, yeah. 3 buys lower. Were they all the same size, Karen? If you don't mind me asking, were they all the same size? All the buys there? Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, this is going to be added. All the alerts that we have that come through our chat will be, they're all logged into the backtester. So, like I said, every week we get some results, but it's really going to be, you know, a year's worth of results is going to give us a lot. Okay. Yeah, so keeping it small. Yeah, because that's what I think that's best. I think it's either that or we go smaller size and then add into, you know, like I said, it wouldn't even surprise me if this continued to just rise up. You know, it wouldn't surprise me. We've seen that plenty as well, but I'm not sure that that'll happen. Again, I think the issue is that the fact that we're exhausted. We've already hit these alerts multiple times. Algorithms have already taken advantage of these, and I think the fact that every time that we see this happen, I think that it's going to present a challenge for the next time to have a clean setup as well. But yeah, we'll find out. That's why I love the data. Love it. Crunch that data. Love it. Nice. Yeah, I think if we're talking about, you know, the strategy, I think, like you said, about 3%. If we broke it about 2-3%, then you may want to wait till it gets down. I think 2% is right around the 640. So 3% from there. If we're breaking it up into, you know, 3, 3, and 3 for you know, a 10%, 9% move, I think then maybe it would give us a little bit better, you know, spot there. But yeah, exactly, Karen. Yeah. I think when we had more volume, right now we have those yellow candles. If you see the other ones that we had today, you'll see that it was all white. See this, the white candles. So a lot more volume over here. Let me see. Pre-market's different. Pre-market, we need yellow candles. So pre-market, we prefer the yellow candles in pre-market. But of course, we love the white candles as well. But on my charts, we want to see we require less volume in the pre-market. So you can see over here, yellow candles, and it started to pop a little bit, but really not consistent. This one had those yellow candles, but it wasn't until after. So, you know, I think it's just a little exhausted at this point. The fact is that it went all the way up to 7 and didn't hold. We're creating so many bags in there that they have to make a tough choice whether they hold on to the position or not. So it's a tough choice to make. And look at that curl off from that bullish vertical trend. You can see that this is an indicator that I made for the confirmation traders. This is a bullish vertical trend leading up into this, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green candles in a row showing a bullish vertical trend, which is definitely something we want to be careful. Algo trading is it's computer-based trading is what it is, Ramu. It's just computers that have basically a formula that they go by. So, you know, technically speaking, these alerts that we get here in chat, and this is something I'm kind of interested in and working towards a little bit, my son and I, but we're going to create a trade bot that actually will take trades for us live in the market. That's going to take some of these trades for us. What it will do is it's an algorithm based on a formula, just like we're saying here. So if I say, okay, start adding to the first initial oversold alert, and every alert that we get, add an extra, double the position each time we get to one of those alerts. If it pops up, say 10 cents, take profit, 90% out, and hold the remaining and put a stop on it, things like that. So you can really put computers in charge of the trading, and bots in charge of your trading. Unfortunately, us as retail traders, we're facing that more so than not. So we're actually fighting against something that's a lot would say it's unbeatable, but that's the idea, is not really to beat it. What it is to join it, in my opinion. So I like to have control over my own trading, but that being said, I'm interested in trying a smaller account with a test bot. But what I prefer is to be in control of my own trading. And to be in control, I'm just looking to hop on those algo trains, get myself a little profit on the mix, and hold a lot in case I feel there's continuation. So you can hear Grav on the scanners. Look at Grav. Look at it go. So we just went over as a risk it for the biscuit, right? Where's the $3 mark? Right there. So $3 is right there. Closed back above and held, and you can see new highs on Grav here. GROV. Again, target area would be 340 for anyone who's in 340. It would be a risk it for the biscuit. We don't have a lot of volume, so I'd be careful. For me, no volume, no trade. I want to see white candles. I want to see consistent volume, so I'll sit this one out as well. But GROV, we're looking at 340 as a target for anyone who's in. Needs to hold above 3. Closes under 3. That's it. I bail. That's where I'd get back out. Yeah, Mob, but we don't need that. We've got no emotion here, right, Mob? We've got no emotion, period. We are just trading our system. All right, that's how it is for me, for the most part. I say that, but then, the woulda, coulda, shoulda guy starts to pipe up a little bit, and I gotta keep him in check, right? Keep him in check. A little pop there in Gruff. Let's see. I'm not in any of these guys. I really don't think any of them are setting up high quality, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly, Remu. Exactly. Join in, take your biscuit on the ride, and run for the hills. That's what I say. Get in, get green, and get out, or get out of the way. Yeah. We've got a few charts up here, guys. We've got DCTH. We've got Grav, GROV. Let me share this into other channel as well. Let's share it to our Benzinga family. Going over live. Going over our charts live. What do I think about EDBL for the rest of the day? Good question. Let me see. Karen, asking for a friend, bag holder. Oh, for real? Oh, okay. I don't know. Let's see. We mapped it out this morning, correct? We have a chart on this one. Let me see what we have in Discord. EDBL we've got here. Just want to verify that these levels are accurate. Karen, you might know if these are accurate. I need to check it. We went over it this morning, I believe. Yeah, EDBL, it's got no volume. That's the issue that I have. Bag holders, speaking about bag holders, that's probably the biggest issue I see as a day trader, is that we've got these over here on the left hand side. We've got this mountain of price action that just is now acting as a major resistance. It's just going to act as a wall. So if we just it's just put this big old rectangle here, let us know that this is now going to be a cluster of resistance, right? So we know that. So we know that we have low volume as well. We can see the indicator is not spotting that volume. So we can see very low volume. So day trading wise, it's tough to tell. If we switch over to maybe like a daily chart and look at it, maybe it's got an opportunity because it is up on the day. But to be honest, It's hard for me to say. I just don't hold low float stocks overnight. I've been burnt too many times, to be honest with you. So for me personally, I just don't hold low float stocks. I know some traders that have made a killing off of doing that, and it's definitely something that's possible. It's hard for me to mitigate risk, because if you've ever been in a stock and then wake up the next morning to it drop down an offering or something like that, and you didn't have the time to be able to manage that trade, it is terrible. The only time that I'm usually in a stock overnight myself would be if I'm already up. So say I was in EDBL, all the way down here, and I was up, 10, 20, 30%. If I was down here and I was up 26% and I was out of my position, maybe 90% or, 95% of my position, just holding a small auto, then maybe I'd be comfortable holding it overnight. But the fact that I'm a day trader just hunting for that volume and that volatility every day, I'm not sure I'm going to find an entry in something like this for me as a day trader. But for, overnight purpose, unfortunately, I'm not the guy to speak to when it comes down to it, to be honest. So I just stick to the volume as it rolls in. Once we pull over these scanners, we got all these scanners here that just really look for that volume for us. That's what I'm looking for. You can see on our recent bullish momentum watch, you can see Grov was the most recent alerts that we had from 135. Even before that, you can scroll down 135 down here, 104. So you can see just Grov. So if I'm looking to possibly trade, my eyes just go right to the scanners and I look for where the volume is in the market, and that's what I'm looking for. Swing trade wise, if I'm going to swing trade something, it's typically going to come from our swing trade channel, and it's going to be something large cap. It's tough for me to say, Karen. In other words, I'm kind of beating around the bush here, I guess. But, I'm just not the guy. I'm just not the guy to be able to really go over a chart like this and say, no, for someone bag holding or holding, you should hold longer, or maybe you should cut it. I can't tell you one way or the other, to be honest with you. For me, what worked best for me in my experience was cutting my bags and learning how to day trade the momentum as it came in rather than holding overnight. But again, that's just what worked for me. I don't trade cheapos either. A lot of traders will trade cheapos. I don't trade them as often, but we've got traders in chat that will trade cheapos pretty often, and I believe are consistently profitable with it. So, I'm not consistently profitable with swinging low floats. I'm not consistent with trading cheapos under $1. So I just stick to what I'm consistent with is all. Yeah, no, I've been there plenty. We've all been there. Yeah, we've all been there. So guys, anybody who's just joining in YouTube, if you have any tickers you want me to go over, throw them in chat. I appreciate you guys joining. This is just Trader Talk, just a casual session, just hanging out with you guys during the market hours. What time is it right now? It is 1:44. We've got oversold alerts coming in again on DCTH. You can see that we're getting those alerts. You can see that right here, DCTH 601. So we're getting alerts on DCTH right now, and I'll add that into Benzinga as well. I'm adding these into the low float channel. So in the low float channel, you guys will see that I have a list of alerts in there, and you can check the timestamp to each one of those alerts. So if you guys have Benzinga and you want to load it up, go over to the alerts. You can just hover over each one. You'll see the actual time of when I added the alert, and look at the price action when I add the alert, because what you'll see most times is it gets a little bounce from there, and that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for reversals. We're not looking for a total, type of momentum play from there. We're looking for just an oversold bounce sometimes. Really, myself, I'm not comfortable trading them until I have a little bit more strategy proven behind it. But that being said, DCTH offering another oversold bounce here. If it can oversell down into the 689, it's worth watching for a possible bounce. This is, let's see, DCTH. I want to pull up, what I like to do if I'm looking at oversold plays is I pull up Benzinga News and I pull up the SEC filing page. And the reason for it is the last thing I want is an offering, and I don't see anything as of now, but the last thing I want when I'm looking at one of these oversold plays is an offering to come out and just take the rug from underneath me. And that's why I don't trade these plays or these trades as often. I do personally prefer to trade bullish bullish momentum myself, so clean close over resistance. The only way we're going to get resistance and a confirmation on this one on DCTH is if it gets all the way back up to where it went to these highs before at 747 and 754. So I need to see it at 754 for me to get excited. Until then, it's going to be an oversold watch. But again, these alerts are a little bit exhausted, so not sure I'm in love with them. We'll see. We'll watch it, see what happens. What happened with Grav? Did Grav just die out on us? We're getting more alerts on DCTH. Few alerts there. Got my coffee here, guys. It's getting a little warm though. A little warm up here. Got the fan on. Let's see. DCTH is oversold. Looking oversold here. We can tell by the BB oversold indicator. It's green. Anytime you see that green, that's exactly what that is. Green arrows and green chart. That means it's entering oversold. So 590 was the price. It entered oversold there. Low of that candle is 590. So I'll put that into the low flow channel. So if you guys are in the low flow channel over in Benzinga, you'll see that. If you're in our Discord, you'll also see that. They get pushed right into our Discord automatically, but then I add them into Benzinga as well whenever I'm available. So GROV is making some noise on the scanner, guys. It's making some noise approaching that resistance. Who's in this one? Anyone in GROV? Let me see it in the chat. And I'm in the live chat in YouTube as well, guys. So if you want to throw some tickers in there, you want to chat, you want to ask a question, please do so. This is just Trader Talk casual session going over some live charts during the market hours. Figured I'd hang out with you guys for a little bit, trying to add value to everyone out there, everyone and anyone willing to learn. I'm still learning stuff new every day and love it. Most of the stuff that I learn is coming off of the data that I'm collecting, so that's very, very important stuff. GROV getting up here. You can see very low volume, guys. If I hover over this candle, we're looking at just over 100,000 shares. It seems like there. Over here, we've got, let's see, 14,000 shares on that green candle. So very low volume on this one. DCTH entering oversold. You can see DCTH is entering oversold here. Tempting. Tempting. Let's see. Let's see what the level 2 looks like. So DCTH pulling it up. I'm watching this one because it's testing a level here. It's going oversold a little bit. I've got the news out. Make sure there's no offering on it. Usually they like to pump the price up before the offering comes out. And then of course it usually closes under a level before we see that. So we'll see what it does at this 589 level. But no position for me at this time. Appreciate everyone joining this morning in our pre-market session, and I appreciate everyone's help earlier. Thank you guys. Made some money this morning. TLSA. That one's almost easy. Imagine typing in TSLA, the wrong ticker, and then trying to buy 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, 5,000 shares. Whew. Be a little bit of a different price there. We're trading a cheapo around $1 and be buying Tesla by accident. WLDS, another cheapo that we traded this morning as well. A couple cheapos. No position for myself at this time. What do we got now? Let's see. FGMC on the scanners there. Looks like a 8 million share float. 900,000 shares traded today. Our gap up scan. Let's pull over the gap up scan real quick. Call it the crap up scan right now because we don't have much to trade. Let's see. We've got Grove is number 1 right now, up 32% from open. LLAP has a high float, 106 million share float. LL is up on 3 million shares traded today. So this is our gap up scanner. But we also have our volume leaders. So our volume leaders, we can see DCTH, 96 million shares, 32 million shares on TSHA. Did we pull up TSHA? Let's take a look at that one. Not sure we've seen that one yet. What's going on here with TSHA? Same thing, guys. This is the problem. This is the issue here. Whenever we gap up like this, you know, it's beautiful when it happens, but then afterwards, what it does is create that choppiness. So we can see over here, it's exactly what happened. Had a random pop in the pre-market session. Couldn't get over 3. I believe that we had this at $3. Let me check the key levels channel. If I check Discord key levels channel, we've got WLDS. Yeah, right here, $3 on TSHA. So we need to see TSHA over that $3 mark. So we'll be watching for that. We've got alerts set. That means at the $3 level. So if we see a close over $3, it's worth watching. But guys, it's almost $1 away. So it's going to be a little while before we see something like that. So, you know, it is tradable in these areas, but you know, it's just a higher probability if we get that momentum. That's the issue. So that's kind of my concern with it. Looks like I missed out on this DCTH. Was thinking about buying into the 589 after these oversold alerts, but and I typically look for only a 10-cent pop, so that's about the pop I was looking for right there. Small pop on DCTH. We'll see what it does from here, but was getting oversold around the 589 level. GROV was hitting the scanners, but where'd the volume go? It died out completely, just died on us. We've got a random pop here with a false break. We need to stay above $3. If I put my mouse down here, the cursor, it would be right there at 3. So we need to stay above that $3 mark. We start to come below 3, there's an issue. So very little volume. I mean, look at this thing. We've got specs on the chart here. So 17,000 shares, 8,000 shares. Imagine that, 8,000 shares. So really, I mean, who's trading this? It's like 5 guys and their friend trading this right now. So you got to be careful with that. What else do we have? Anything on the scans? Guys, throw some tickers out there. Let's take a look at Tesla and SPY. Look at Tesla's falling down here. TSLA's falling down. We've got SPY is really testing that major level, and it doesn't look like it's holding up right now. We'll see what it does. Got a little support here. We'll see what it does here. But, you know, this is a major support level for SPY that it held just the other day. So I'm not sure if we're going to hold this level again. Like I said earlier, if we keep knocking on this door, it's going to come off the hinges eventually. So be careful with that. SPY needs to hold above the 444, in my opinion. It's struggling right now to do so. We'll see what it does towards the end of the day. It's right now 1:53 p.m. Eastern time. And we are looking at a couple of these DCTH we've got over here. All right, little pop on DCTH. Did anyone take that? Anyone get a little scalperoonie here? Nothing much, nothing crazy. We're not getting above 10 cents at this level yet. We can see, again, very exhausted. And at this point, these alerts are not providing the quality of type of trades that I'm looking for. These yellow candles are just not for me. But that being said, DCTH, small pop there. GROV has to stay above 3 if it can do so without making a big old pink knife or magenta knife, whatever you want to call it. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's this candle right here. We don't want to see that. Negative 4% candle. Trying to avoid that. And we don't see a whole bunch of them on that chart, which is a plus as well. Resistance is around 340. Close over 340. We then have 350, $0.50, right? Then 354, 365, 373. And this one's showing a 13 million share flow on TradingView. 6 million shares traded today so far. And now, appreciate you joining, man. AMC, you got it. AMC, let me see what we have on AMC. Now this one's a big float, I believe. This one's a large float. Let me see. Yeah, this one's 516 million share float showing on TradingView. So this one would be out of my wheelhouse. Let me see. I'll mark it up and we'll compare notes here. So let me see what I have. You typically, I have a very specific way of how I mark charts when it comes to low flow as well as large cap. Even micro actually has their own little system here, but I'll mark it. So I'm going to mark what I see on AMC, and I appreciate that, and now appreciate you throwing in a ticker there. My man, my Benzinga crew. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hope you guys made some money. Who made money? Let me see who made money. I made some money this morning. Nothing crazy. Nothing to brag about, guys. I didn't make a killing. I took a red day yesterday, very small. I'm green on the week, but again, very small. Kids are going to be lucky if they eat lunch this week. I'll tell you that. They will be lucky. So, and are we looking for a swing trade type of, because this is large cap. Whenever I look at large cap, this is you know, possible for swing trades as well. We do go over swing trades in our account as well. We had a couple of swings recently. Let me see what we had. Let me see. I'll pull up the swing trade channel. You guys can take a look at it real quick and let me know what you think of some of these ideas. What do we have? We had let's see. The most recent swings that we put in here were these here. Right there, we had recent swings. We had JPM at 127. We'll go over these in a minute. I'm gonna mark up this AMC and see what we got. Wow, they had a dip, huh? AMC had a pretty big dip there. Yeah, I don't follow them too often myself. All right, I've got levels coming out here. Let's see what we have, and let's see if we've got anything comparable. So I've got right here, resistance is sitting around 399. Man, this thing is low. This thing is low. It's been a while since I've looked at this. So AMC, the only thing I don't like about this one, and is going to be that float size, man. That 560 million share float, I don't like it. I can't say that I like it. What I do like, average volume, 37 million shares in the last 10 days. It's got 51 mil, so it's got a lot of volume today, a lot of liquidity. Of course, I think AMC is always going to have that liquidity. So, you know, even options might be in play in something like this. And so let's see. I've got, for key levels I have right now, and I'll put a label on each one of these just to kind of make it a little bit easier to see, because it might be a little hard to see on the screen. Let me see. I'll go over some more here in a minute. As soon as I find the price label. There it is. All right, there it is. All right, these are the levels I have. I'm going to label them out real quick. And these are rough. I've got a couple. It may not be exact. I can adjust them, but I think you can see them pretty well. And I think I know you trade zones pretty often, so you may find that some of these, you know, equal out to your zones as well. So AMC, the levels that I have that are going to be key levels is I've got 392 above. So if we keep on moving here, we've got 392. Let's see what we have. 3 million shares in the last 15 minutes. 2 million shares before that, 2 million shares before that, 2 million shares. We've got a lot of volume right now. I would say that I'm a little concerned here. We've got a bullish vertical trend on the 15-minute chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green bars on the 15-minute chart. But I'll tell you, sometimes these large caps just, they do not care. If they're bullish, they are bullish. They'll just rip through levels. They don't care. That's just the way it is. But I would say that that is a bit of a concern. Right now, the level would be 392. Again, this is a very, very high float, in which case the problem that I see with that is there's going to be a lot more algorithmic trading, and there's going to be a lot more computer-based trading that's going to be against us retail traders. So again, I like to attach myself to them and what they're seeing and try to just ride the wave with them a little bit. But I am a little concerned with that float size, that we may see a couple knives here and there. If we switch over to the 1 minute chart, let's take a look at the 1 minute chart. All right, not bad. Looks a little barcodey, doesn't it? It's got some almost, it's not barcode, but I mean, it almost looks like it's kind of weird. Very gradual trend though, regardless. This is a very gradual trend up in the right direction. So I got 392. I'm not sure. Typically when I look at these large cap names, it's more of a swing trade type of idea. So if I was looking at a daily, I'd be looking at, okay, major levels to be concerned with that need to hold, 272. So really, you know, if I was looking at this $1 below the price, the current price now, we start to come under 272, that's it, got to get out. You know, that's just the way I look at it. Again, the concern here is that float size, but I'm not sure about maybe oversold looks for possible swing trades. I'm not sure about that. It looks like it's kind of curling back up, and maybe I'm a little late to the game here, but you can see that the levels here that I have that are going to be in play are going to be 352 support, 273 below that, and of course half and hold between. But on these large cap, half and hold is going to hold a little bit less weight. I think whole dollar will hold more weight than half, so maybe around the $3 level you might see some support. So that's what I'm seeing there on that one. I'll save this. What do we got next, guys? We've got and I appreciate that one, Anna. Hal, we got VFS. Good one, VFS. This is a new one, isn't it? This is a stock name change, I believe, right? Yeah. So if we switch over to a monthly chart on this, we can see on this one that we've got all-time highs, $34.22 right there. Let me make sure that that's accurate to a, yeah, 34.22, 34.22, yes. So it made its biggest move today. And this is obviously, it looks like either a new IPO. I think this is that stock, the name change, isn't it? Whatever one that was earlier today, I forget, but I believe it was that one. So what we're seeing here is all-time highs. What that means is half and whole dollar. That means what I'm going to do, Hal, I'm not going to have any levels on it. That's just the way it is. You know, you could look for some resistance. You could look for something in here that you can find as a possible resistance on any one of these charts. So you can just go down the list, 1 hour, 2 hour, 30 minutes. So you can really start marking areas of resistance here and use that as your guide. But to be honest with you, on something like this, half and whole. And I'll tell you, the fact that it's so high priced at this point too, because it went all the way down from, let's see, the low today was, let's go here. The low today was right around, well, I'm not seeing it, around $15 there. I believe it was lower than that there. Yeah, $13.48. So all the way down from $13, $14 all the way up to $34. Wow, just impressive. But this again is going to be moving on. Let's see, what kind of volume does it have? Reminds you of Village Farms a little bit, doesn't it? What was that? What was that? I forget that one. VFF? I can't remember what it was. All right, so when I pull it up with my indicators on, you can see that it has very little volume. So this is completely a risk it for the biscuit, a complete risk it for the biscuit, in which we went over earlier in this video. So if you guys didn't catch that, make sure to check the video out afterwards. This will be recorded as well. So this is a live session now, but we will also have this recorded. But risk it for the biscuit. All right, we've got lacking volume. We have very little volume. So in other words, that tells me to assess the conditions here, which we have, and adjust my approach. So exactly, just like you said there, Hal, widespread. Exactly. That's the problem. And the problem with that is, you know, we don't want to go full size because, man, if it goes against us, right, we've been in that before. If it goes down, if you buy and then you have to sell immediately, you made a mistake, you bought too many shares, whatever it is, and you sell for a 50% loss immediately, or excuse me, a 50-cent loss, or you know, $1 loss in less than seconds, man, that hurts. That hurts. And I've been there before. So, you know, we just have to assess these conditions and know that, you know, maybe it's not worth me throwing 5,000, 10,000 shares at this thing if that's my normal size that I take on a high quality setup. So maybe I can assess this and I can say, you know what, I still want to be I still want a piece of the pie, right? I still want a piece of the pie. I still want to get in this thing. So I want to treat it like a risk it for the biscuit. And this is, again, a whole chapter that we have in the strategy guide. So risk it for the biscuit. We're going over that, and it is basically just saying that all conditions have not been met. So maybe we want to take piece or take part in this trade, but we don't want to throw the whole kitchen sink at it, right? So at this point, $34, I would say, Hal, it has to get over $34 to be considered. So if I was shouting this one out to our group and our team, I would say, you know what, guys, it needs to close over $34. It would not be a plus, because we have major reds and we have low volume and no levels to trade. So we're using mental levels. So right there, we're already weighing the pros and cons. Those are 3 cons right there. And so that doesn't mean that we don't take the trade, but it means we may want to adjust our approach based on those conditions, knowing and assessing that type of setup there, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And let's see what happened to our other ones here. We had DCTH was giving us some oversold looks, and look, it's back down. So, you know, it's kind of exhausted here, guys. I don't think it's going to do much. That's why I'm just not taking part in this one. You know, what I would love is to see something pop up in the pre-market session, hold up in the pre-market session, hit new highs in the regular market session, and then give us these type of alerts, because that tells me it's really bullish, and bullish momentum was in play. This one is not bullish momentum. Yes, it has volume. Sure, it's going to be on the volume scans. Pull those over, you're going to see it all over the volume scans. You won't see it on the bullish momentum as much. You can see on this volume scanner we have here, you don't see it on this list as much, and that's because it wasn't considered bullish momentum. It's not going to be considered bullish momentum. You can see over here, you can see Grove is all over this. DCTH up, solo. So we have some names to watch, and that's our radar in the market, right? So we're getting some oversold bounce plays. Yes, not much there to really trade, in my opinion. So I think I'll let that one go without me. What else we got here? Space Cowboy, EOSE, good call. EOSE, let's take a look at it. All right, let me actually leave this chart up so that way we can reference that again. What time is it? 2:05. Running a little bit late here. So this is Trader Talk, guys. Trader Talk with BB. Just want to go over some charts with you guys live, real time. No BS here. We're just focusing on analyzing these charts, looking for valuable areas to possibly trade, and coming together as a team, because we are not in this alone. We are retail traders trying to trade against computers for the most part. So let's see, EOSE. What I'm seeing on this one that's concerning, first off the bat here, is 121 for the float. 121 million share float, high float. And that means it's going to be on our large float scanner. If I pull that over, you can see EOSE was on this large float, prime time. If I scroll on down, you can see all at the bottom, EOSE down here at 933. And NVTS as well down here. So letting us know that it has a high float, 121 million share float, low volume at the time, 265 was the price. It's now at 278. So not bad, not bad. My concern, same as almost the same as AMC that we just went over, but not exactly the same. The issue here is this is still low float. Anything under 150 million share float, I do believe is low float. But that being said, others may disagree with that, but that's how I look at it. So anything under 150 million share float is low float. This is 121 million share float. So yes, it's under, but it's not far under. So it basically, the higher the float, the less the quality is, right? But of course, conditions can change that. We can have something that comes out and they say, you know, they cured cancer and, you know, this phase 3 study, you know, whatever, and it may pop up regardless. So it really depends if the news is that strong or not. So news can shift the stock and momentum at times. But oftentimes EOSE, we can see 121 million share float. That's a concern. Other concern here, we can see the volume hunter is letting me know that there isn't that much volume. If there was, we'd see these white candles over here. So we can see that we have very little volume on these candles, and that is a major concern. So low volume, that's a con. Share float size is a little too large for me. That's a con. And of course we have, let's see, resistance at 281. It looks like that's it. So close over 281 is what we want to see. So 281, 293, 296, then of course $3 being the organic or mental whole dollar test. Then we got 321, 325. So if we measure that gap, this gap right here, we're looking at about 4% in that gap. We're looking up here at closer to 8%. So maybe I want to be more aggressive in this gap than this one here. But that being said, no volume, no trade right now. We have very little volume. And during the regular market session, I need to see these white candles and that breakout type of volume. And if we don't see that volume, then I will typically avoid the trade altogether or greatly reduce my size. So let me see if there's any other tickers here in chat. If you guys are in chat, feel free to throw them in. Frankie, we went over AMC. Appreciate you joining. Yeah, and now the TTOO, that one we went over a minute ago. This one is very, it's tough to say the least, right? It's a challenge. It has a lot of volume. Pull up that chart. Look at that. White candles galore. So we have plenty of volume, which is a huge plus, right? That's what we want. We want that liquidity. We want that that volume there, so we can get in and out of our trades, you know, with a large size and make it lucrative, make it worth our time, right? Because other times, you know, other trades will be trading such low volume, it's sometimes not worth it. First initial thought here: share float, 282 million share float. Let me verify that. Pull over our cheapo scanner. Yeah, our cheapo scanner, same thing, is showing that as well. So if I hover over 931 at 45 cents was around the first alerts during the market hours, 282 million share float. So a lot of shares in that float. That is a bit of a concern, especially in a cheapo. So, you know, when it's a cheapo, what I would like to see is other conditions have been met. And the fact that another condition is red or a major red as well, that is a, you know, just it really adds to the concern there, really. And so it's so hard for me to get behind something like that and honestly throw the kitchen sink at it and make it lucrative for me. So I'm not consistent trading these type of names myself, and so I look for, you know, a little bit more consistency, and I established my consistency trading stocks usually over $1, but more preferably between 2 and 25 is where I that's my sweet spot, and really anywhere from 2 to 15, that's my sweet spot right there. But you know, that being said, it's not always what we have in front of us to trade. Sometimes we have to trade what we have in front of us. We got to pay the bills, right? So TTOO this morning gapped up and has held up, which is nice. So oversold alerts may come into effect on this one. You can see it bounced here a little bit, but the fact that it's a cheapo, the fact that the float is too high, I don't think it's that good of a candidate for those alerts, and it would be something I think I would just avoid altogether. Now, that being said, I just want to make it very clear that does not mean that this stock isn't going to continue, rise higher, and go to 60 cents, 70, 80, $1. It could happen. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, right? So I have seen that plenty of times before, but more times than not, I've seen these go back the other way. And for that reason, the probability is less likely and the risk is greater. And because of the risk being greater there and the situation, I just may not want to trade that. Now, for me personally, I am in the green today. So I'm very happy and proud to say that I'm in the green from pre-market trading this morning. And I do the bulk of my trading in the pre-market session. And when we're in the pre-market session, I like to make my money. And if I make it quick enough, I can use that profit as my cushion to trade throughout the rest of the day. So technically speaking, I could use the cushion that I have to take a trade today. But the fact of the matter is, and the truth of it is that yesterday I had a red day. Last Thursday, I had a red day. Friday, I didn't trade. It was a no trade day. And Wednesday was the last green day that I had other than today. So I would like to lock that profit in. I'm green on the month. I'm green on the week now, but I'd like to keep that way, stay green. It's a very slim picking, in my opinion, these last couple of days when it comes to our pre-market selection. And so, you know, I'm being a little hesitant right now, a little less aggressive in my own trading and being on the more selective side. Yesterday, I was a little bit more carefree with my trading on a Monday, and I paid for it. But of course, it was I got lucky and got it back to pretty much flat. But regardless, no one wants to suffer losses. I'll tell you, to be honest with you guys, I am 100% addicted to seeing green days. I love seeing green days and consistency. Before that red day last Thursday, I had 13 green days in a row, 13 in a row. And that's typically how it goes for me. Usually I get a good week straight or so, and usually maybe one red day a week, if that, and sometimes not even. So you know, consistency is what's addictive to me. I won't even lie. I'm very, very much addicted to consistency. I used to kind of go for the home runs, and I would take trades and hit those home runs once in a while, but I would just give it right back on another trade that, you know, turns out to be a base hit. And I was looking for a home run, and then before you know it, it pulled back and I didn't let go of it. So, you know, to each their own. Everyone's different, of course. But that's my thoughts there on that cheapo there. So let me pull up the Discord here. Give me one sec, guys. We are, what time is it? It is 2:13. Get this Discord all fixed up because it's all wonky right now. I get it all zoomed in. Sometimes I get those old man moments, guys. Sometimes I just have that old man moment where I'm just staring at the screen. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Josie, I appreciate that, man. You know, it's a team effort, 100%, guys. I didn't get here without help. So, you know, I didn't get here by myself. And that's the idea here, is trying to add value without, you know, having to charge an arm and a leg for it. So that's the idea, guys. I didn't have a lot of money when I first started. I'm very fortunate now. I've got my house paid for. I've got my cars paid for. I've got my you know, I'm very happy. I've got a great life. I'm very, very fortunate to live the life that I do. And, you know, trading stocks has provided that. So I'm very fortunate. So I just want to share, you know, whatever I can with others. That's what's going on. So we can see DCTH getting a little pop here. This was the oversold alert. Last oversold alert that we got in chat was at $5.77. It's now at $5.99. So we're getting that 10-cent pop. But again, I'm not comfortable trading it. It's very exhausted at this point. We had a setup over here. It did not work out at this point because it closed under. We would be bailing and taking a loss. So if we were adding into that, that would be a loss there. So again, just not in love with it. Too exhausted at this point. And it wouldn't surprise me if it curled right up and continued, but the probability of things like that are it's just less likely. So I'm not too in love with that. I appreciate it, Hal. Yeah. How about the, how many times have you guys gone to buy a stock and then bought the wrong ticker? I mean, I've done that too many times, I'd like to admit, in the past. Luckily, it's something that I've now learned to avoid, but I've done that too many times in the past to admit, I'll tell you. And there's nothing worse. That is a real big screw up. After you do that, it's funny too, because immediately what I do typically is I'd be like, oh, I bought the wrong ticker, sell for a loss. Immediately you get caught in a nasty knife, depending on what it is, and then tell you before you know it, you got to shut it down. Me, I got to take the loss and walk away and say, hey, buddy, you screwed up. So, take your slap on the wrist, go sit down, regroup, get your head together, and come back prepared, because preparation is key, guys. It really is. I appreciate that, Mop. SPGC, John? SPGC, let me see. We've got traders in our Discord talking as well, guys. So if you're confused where that's coming from, that's where it is. Brain fart there for a minute. SPGC, low volume. Is this a SPAC as well? Let me see. Yes, it is. So half and whole dollar, nice. This thing is moving at the highs right now as we speak. Great call, John. Is this one of the ones MJ went over earlier? MJ is on fire with these new IPOs. Not sure if MJ's listening in, but if he is, just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. Adding a lot of value. Yeah, Karen. I've done that as well. I have done that as well. Yeah, sometimes you can get you in a lot of trouble. That I just verify now. Just verify. Webull can be a little fishy about that sometimes as well. So, just make sure that you are, you have the right ticker up. So I just verify now a few times before I actually pull the trigger. So just verify. So that one is moving up. Is this one halted right now? Looks like it's halted. I think it's halted. What time is this? 216, 217. Yeah, this is, I believe, halted now. Unless it's just sitting there. Let me check. I'll check it. You guys let me know. Is it halted? It is halted. Space, appreciate it. How do I trade halts? I don't. I don't. How do I trade halts? I don't trade halts. The only way I trade halts typically is if I'm already in the trade. That's how I trade halts. And typically I look to get that out of the halt. I don't like when they start halting the stock myself. It gets too nerve-wracking myself. I really love when there's clean price action. Most of the trades that I take don't result in a halt. If they do, typically they're on the way up, which I'm very fortunate to say. Confirmation trading is very, it's really cool in the fact that for some reason, the price tends to drop and close under the resistance level. So if I pull DCTH over here, right? And of course, this wouldn't halt because this was in the pre-market session. When we have our levels marked out here, this right here is very important. This closed above this level, telling me that it's bullish. But on this wick, it hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels. So it basically filled the gap and allowed traders who were here, these bags that were going to create new support levels, allowed them to sell, and it did not hold. So buyers did not hold. So when it closed back below, right here on this major pink candle, that 659 level, that was it. That was telling us that it is now bearish and time to either possibly short or just get the heck out of the way. And we can see it then went down from there all the way down to right around here, which was what, 481? Yeah, 481. And then bounced up from there back up, but it did not close over this level until right around this area. So let me see. So look at this. I mean, look at this, guys. This is the first candle, right? This candle right here is the first. And let me turn off the volume indicator for a minute here so you guys can see a little bit easier. Hitting the wrong buttons. Let me see. There we go. All right, so this will make it easier to see, right? So look at this. Closed over that level. This is the first time. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Look at this. This is the first time that we closed over this level and held. This one over here did not hold. It hit multiple levels, closed there, closed below, and that was it. Over here, scroll to the right. I zoom out, get all wonky on you. Over here, we had a false breakout, false breakout, false breakout. Clean close over. That was our clean close. That was the cleanest close that we had over because it was not a giant topping tail and a giant rejection. So this is our cleanest close over that level. It did have a topping tail, but most of the candle here was a pretty green, bullish, engulfing candle. Very next candle, look at that. Tested the level. So if you were uncomfortable buying here, if you had a 659 level and you bought maybe half your shares here because you were a little uncomfortable, it gapped up off your level too high, pulled back, tested that level, added into the position, never closed below, and then within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 13 to 15 candles, hit our target right there. It's not huge, but if you take that, measure the move, you're looking at a 4% move. That's the high probability move. That's the move that I like taking. Over here, want to see now a clean close over $7. Right here, we hit a high of $7. Did not close over. Yes, it's a bullish candle, nice engulfing candle, but did not close over the mental level of 7, which is a whole dollar test. So now, need to see a close over 7. Oh, look at that. The very first close over $7, then hit its target right after. The problem with this setup, same thing, topping tail. It tested and filled the gap to the 215 and 220, or excuse me, 715 and 728. So what this tells us now for confirmation, right? If we're looking for a true confirmation, technically speaking, we need to see a close over 754 because we've already filled the gap to that level. But it was so early in the pre-market session that I'm not sure that that's going to hold as much weight. But if we get a close over that 728 level, that would be the first time today. If we got a close over the 715 level, that would be the first time today, a clean close over 715. So 715, 728. If we're looking for a risky type of entry, risky type of trade, that's the zone to be watching. Close over the 728 and 754, then we might start cooking in the right direction. We've got some levels above $8. So we've got a whole gap from 754 to 8. That's a nice 50-cent gap there. And we've got 825, 840, 848, 850 mental, 860, 864, 904. And you can see we have levels all the way up the chart. So if you're looking for levels for the whole thing, that's what I see. So if you really start to get cooking, and it may happen in the aftermarket as well, or in the post market. If it starts cooking, we're looking at 860, 864, $9, 940, 1019, 1024, 1057, and of course half and whole in between, right? So if this one gets cooking, we you can really see something going here. The problem is that it's going the wrong way right now, right? It's just going the wrong way. It's not responding off of these oversold dip plays. It is, but not really, not enough to make it really a lucrative type of angle. And so it's just not really, I don't know, it's just not feasible for a trade for me. So not sure I'll be trading that one. And right now the scanners are pretty quiet. This one looks like it's still halted. Let's see, EOSE was mentioned a minute ago. We went over this one. You can see it's just kind of barcoding at this point with no volume. What else did we have? Grove, G-R-O-V. Grove. Look at that. Grove, G-R-O-V, Grove, starting to oversell a little bit here, right? So might see a little bounce from that level. So we'll keep an eye on this one for a minute. I'll check the chat. No position for me, guys. I do, again, bulk of my trading comes in the pre-market session. And if you guys have found any value in today's video, if you're joining in, guys, you're joining from Benzinga, you're joining from anywhere, thumbs up, share the video, get the word out, guys. Trying to help everyone as much as I can. And this is, of course, free information, guys, for educational purpose. Let's see. And did well with top. Nice. Yeah, top was nice. Oh, yeah, I hear you. Now I see what you're saying now. Yep. Yeah, top and tops. Yep. Yeah, that's like the one this morning, TSLA and TLSA. Try buying a dollar stock TLSA and then start buying Tesla. You're going to get yourself into trouble. Yeah, I've been there, guys. Been there too many times. Appreciate it, Karma. Resume at 221. Is it past 221 now? I think it's past it now. Yeah, hell, yeah. The extended hours are nice. No halts. Not usually. I mean, they can halt it technically speaking, but typically they don't halt it in the aftermarket. Not for volatility. You know, and now I'll tell you what, man. That's a good question right there. How did I feel about TSHA yesterday? Let me tell you, because I think this may be an unpopular opinion. I think there's a lot of traders in our chat that made some money on TSHA. But my opinion on it, it was a crapshoot. It was a crapshoot. The way I looked at it, let me pull up the chart, TSHA. The problem that I had with it, and unfortunately, most of my levels are no longer on this chart. But the problem that I had on this yesterday was that I had way too much resistance on this chart. It was a cheapo. I had resistance on the chart, and the float was a little bit higher than the 25 million share float than I prefer. So to be honest with you, I had a hard time trading it. Now, I had announced it that the key level on it, let me check what the key level was. So if I go to our key levels page here, let me see, TSHA right here. Yesterday was August 14th, right? Yeah, the 15th today. So GNS, TSHA right here. TSHA, $1.08 and $1.10. That was the first level that we wanted to see it close over, was the $1.08 level. So, if we pull up that chart, we see that $1.08 was right around here, right around this level. So in the pre-market session, this is what we wanted to see, this close over right here. So $1.08, if I had a level, would be right there. I'll set a level. Just so it's easier to see. So $1.08 was the first level, and $1.10 being the whole 10-cent level. So 10 cents for anything cheapo under $2, and I look at 10 cents as to a decent little spot too. Hey, Retail just opened up. Retail opened up and is going to the moon right now. Retail is going to the moon right now. Let's see. Interesting. So, just halted. I'm going to just halt it again. So back to TSHA. Sorry, ADD taking over. All right, TSHA. So, and my problem was this. It was a cheapo. Man, it started around 70 cents. Number one, that was a red flag right there. Number two, the flow was a little higher than I preferred. It's not out of my wheelhouse, but it's still a little higher than it really my best trades have come into. It did have news. I like that. That was a plus. It closed over this $1.08 and $1.10 level. This was a nice entry. The problem is this candle here had jumped up and hit the level above. So the gaps that I had in here, and you won't see this now on the chart because I update the chart overnight, but this chart had more levels in here, and it was becoming choppy in the price action. I ended up taking this trade. I forget exactly where it was, but I took this trade multiple times in here. The first trade that I took on this was green. Did a nice job on my trade. But then when I pulled the trigger into profit, I only sold half of the position and was looking for the other half to close over and continue, just like we then saw on the rest of the day. In the pre-market, that didn't happen. So unfortunately, I traded this multiple times. I did more anticipation trading than confirmation trading on this. And for that, I got myself into trouble. But luckily for me, I was aware of the conditions. I knew what I didn't like about it, and I adjusted my approach, and therefore I took a lot less of a loss than I typically would have. I was able to get green towards the end of this trade. I ended up taking one of these trades over the resistance level, and I was able to get flat on TSHA, which was really great, because it was this one, and I traded, I think, this one and another one that ended up going against me. I forget what the other one was, but I had news as well. So TSHA, I can't say that I loved it. I really can't. You can see over here, it had this massive move in the right direction, but it had a bullish vertical trend. If I measure this move, should be about 15% on this move. Yeah, 24%. So that's a bullish vertical trend as well. So anything over 15%, 3 candles or less, that's a bullish vertical trend. So that is a major red flag for me. And you can see it halted here and then unhalted, came down and closed below. So at this point, 176 was the level. Go over to the right-hand side. Here's a close over 176. Didn't hold, I don't think, at first. Let me see. Did not hold at first. Held the second time. Continued to gap up. Did not hit its resistance levels. Let me see what it did overnight. This one, I think most of the move didn't happen in the aftermarket, which was, just not a time that I'm actively trading. So you can see closed above. And then, yeah, this blue area here is the aftermarket. So it made the bulk of its move in the aftermarket. So, it's tough. It's tough. It's the same thing as the one this morning. It's almost the same as if it gapped up in the pre-market. what that does is it creates this mountain of resistance. And now we just created a cluster of resistance in here. So now we're just creating this cluster of resistance, and now it's just going to create a choppy atmosphere, a choppy price action type of a zone. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a struggle in my opinion to really get through that and trade it fluent, you know. So again, for me, it may not be lucrative to trade great size and something like that, knowing that we have so many bags up there above, and we still have these 237, 238, 241, 245, 250. So we have a lot of levels to be concerned with on that one as well. That's my thoughts. I thought it was a crapshoot, to be honest with you. I know a lot of traders, did well with it, and I like to see that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'll tell you, for me, I think it was a crapshoot. I don't think it was a high quality entry, and I don't think it was a high quality setup. Looking back at the conditions that I had on my scanner as well at nighttime, I have end of day scans. It was not a high quality setup. It gave high quality results for anyone who stuck into it from that $8 level, but it was not a high quality setup in my opinion. So DCTH, guys, this is our volume leader. If I pull it over, volume leaders today, we've got just over almost 100 million shares traded on this one. DCTH, 98 million shares. Very low float. 9 million share float. Nice. This was frustrating because the news came out at 9 p.m. Yeah, Karma. JTAI. JTAI, that's a new one, isn't it? I think that's a new IPO as well. Could be wrong, though. Yeah. Let's go to the monthly chart. Weekly. Daily. I got some levels in here. 4 hour. Yeah, let me map it out real quick. I'll map this one out. We'll see what we've got. This may not be a bad one to watch, Karma. This may be a good one to watch. It doesn't have a whole lot of bags. It has some from the other day. It went up to 1750 on that move, but it's not cluttered with resistance, which is, it's a plus. If you mark the chart, guys, and you see that you would just have, a whole bunch of levels above your current price, that is going to be a concern. That is going to be, common sense will tell you that's going to be a cluster of resistance. It's going to tell you that there's just bags in the way. You need to get them out of the way. All right, levels are coming out on JTAI. Let me share this to our team in Discord as well. So all the stocks that hit our scanners, I like to pull up and I mark them manually and send them out to our team, trying to find the support and resistance levels. Of course, always compare your levels to mine. If we have the same levels, can add conviction to your own trading. All right, so JTAI, let's go over this quickly. First initial thought, I think you guys can agree. What is this here? No volume. So that is number one concern. As we can see, there's just no volume. Not seeing any float size listed at TradingView just yet. I think it's because it's a newer IPO or a SPAC. So with that being said, definitely set alerts. So I come in here, right click, add alert, and I like to add my alerts just below the level. So add alerts right there, and then I can be notified at my key levels. And I like the gap here on JTAI. So technically speaking, if we get over this resistance level of $7 and we can hold that whole dollar test, we're looking at a 38% gap. I like that. I like big gaps, and I cannot lie. If you guys seen that video before, I've got a gaps video out where I go over how I like my gaps, how I trade these gaps, and which gaps I like to avoid. This is a very attractive gap. So again, we measure that move. We're talking, almost a 40% move. That is impressive. That is something I want to see. Now, I want to be clear about this. Just because it has a gap from 7 to 973 does not mean that gap is going to fill. Does not mean we're going to just close over, hold a level, and get to 973. That's not what that means. What that means is the probability of me getting a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 cent move in a gap like this is higher probability than if I was trading a gap smaller like down here, the 645 to 7. So if I'm looking for maybe a 50 cent type of move, the probability of getting that 50 cent move in a gap that is clean like this is higher probability, excuse me, than if I trade a smaller gap. So this gap above us at 973 and 990 may not be the gap that I want to attack because it's very small. So if you just measure that, you can assess these charts before you get into them. No, that's a dollar, or excuse me, 1.6%. And so the gap is quite small. So may not be something that you want to trade until there's volume, because number one personal rule for myself is no volume, no trade. So guys, I think that's about it for today's live session. I've been in here for, I think, a little while now. Let me see. Running about 2 hours now. So just wanted to add some value. I'm going to start doing this once in a while. Every Sunday, we're going to have a trader talk. So if you guys are not subscribed yet, make sure to do so. If you haven't thumbs up the video yet, please do so. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And get this video out, guys. I'm trying to help as many people as I can, trying to get to as many traders as possible. And the fact is that you know, what I do in the market is not the only way to make money. And I want to make that very clear. You know, just because it works for me does not mean it's going to work for you. But I have found success with, you know, these strategies and with these, this approach to the market. So I do believe that alone should be able to help somebody out there. So that's the goal here, is to be able to help out other traders. Guys, I had to do a lot of it on my own, but not everything on my own. And a lot of it, when I was grinding and learning and trying to become a better trader, a lot of it was just a bunch of BS. And I'm trying to avoid, help traders avoid that BS. Now, I try to be as transparent as possible. Truth about it is, guys, truth about trading, this is Trader Talk. This is a casual session, but the truth is I am not always green. It will not always be green days. I had a red day yesterday. I had a red day on Thursday. It happens and it will happen. The idea here in the strategy is to mitigate that risk and keep it short, keep it tight, keep it sweet, because we are not trying to extend losses. I'm not trying to dig myself a hole and get myself into trouble, and I don't hold low float stocks overnight. Very, very strict to my strategy, guys. If I'm trading the confirmation strategy, I'm looking for a clean close over one of these levels to then hold above that level. Close back below that level, that's it. I bail on the trade and I'm back out. I do not overstay my welcome. And typically my best trades will happen within the first few minutes of entering the trade. And if it doesn't, that in itself can be room for concern. So guys, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Almost said this morning. I'm used to saying this morning. I trade live in the pre-market session from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. every day, going over my trades, going over why I'm getting in, when I'm getting in, and how I'm getting in, and of course, where I'm getting out as well, and trying to help others in the process. But of course, this is not trade alerts. This is trade education, and this is for educational purposes. So guys, I appreciate your time. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, your night. It is Taco Tuesday, so let's go eat some tacos. Thanks, guys.